All right, guys, welcome back. Really excited to do my little intro on this one. This story was so dang special to me for so many reasons. I think the Jon Huizinga story was special from a baseball standpoint of one of the most interesting guys in baseball from his playing career to his coaching career. You know, this guy went to Michigan State, an absolute bulldog. Fought his way into pro ball, got into affiliated early, had a catastrophic elbow injury, had a catastrophic back injury. Ran around the country in indie ball and got those experiences and learned a lot about life and himself through that. Through only one who has gone through indie ball would understand what I'm talking about with that. The grind of that, and then his playing career bookended with getting back into affiliated at 34 years old, which is so incredible. And there's a great article out there about that. And then we transition into his coaching career and all the $1 million arms that are under him. Everyone from Matt Liberatore to Tarek Skubal, Corbin Burns, Josh Hader. All these guys are going to him, and they trust him, and they're comfortable with him, and they trust his process. And it's so incredible to see all these his humble beginnings of, he used to have this backyard lab where it was literally just people in his backyard working out and doing these unique exercises. And he's this really special guy too, and he's got this unique blend of martial arts and Eastern philosophy and breath work and grounding and getting into nature and thinking abstractly, and just a beautiful mind too. We got to hear from so many people that were special to his life. My hope is someday all these people that are in his life, his kids, his wife, his family, can have this to go back to and be like, man, Dad, it was really cool to, really go back into your story and understand some of the whys, and to hear your perspective on it and how you saw it. So we heard from, Mike Paul, Greg Gunderson, Pat Gill, Joey Gathright, James Hoyt, Brittany Huizinga, Shelby Miller, Connor McGuinness, Bo Brisky, Parker Markel, Edwin Jackson, Tarek Skubal, Matt Liberatore, I've already said Joey Gathright. So just a who's who of players, so incredible. Jon and I's story is forever linked. We met at a reality baseball TV show called The Player with Cal Ripken in 2012, and this man is so special to me. He, long story short, the show never aired, but we became friendly through that and have been friends ever since. And I was on this mission to get back into pro ball, and long story short, I got released out of the Frontier League without getting a hit. And Jon stuck his neck out for me and got me in the Freedom League out there in the Phoenix area. And I got to go out there and fulfill a vision quest and play and start and get my hit and prove that I belonged in professional baseball. And I'll forever be grateful for him for doing that for me. And then also, he's made this podcast grow. When we first started working on this story almost a year ago, I think I had under 500 followers, and I've got close to 2,000 now. I'm getting 500,000 people on the page a month. Things are exploding. Major leaguers, Hall of Famers are wanting to be a part of it. So thank you, Jon, man. You are my baseball angel. You are a baseball Yoda to many. One of the most special guys in the game. I'm getting long-winded here. I love this guy. I plan on getting out there to Sedona and doing one of those trips here soon, but I hope you guys enjoy this. This is going to be the end to the saga, part 6. A good 12 plus hours of an incredible baseball journey. I hope you guys get this. I hope you guys understand this. This is from our hearts. Here we go. All right, y'all. Welcome back to our family support section. These are families that want to breathe some life into the podcast and keep us rolling. We really appreciate you guys. Here's a list of our roster right now. We're going to start off with the Guernsey family. This is going to be Nate Guernsey, the former baller at Southeast, super swaggy dude, baseball, basketball player. He's got a son coming up, Ivan Guernsey. Look out for this dude. PJ was raving about him being ambidextrous and can throw hard from both sides. And he's playing in the Cardinals organization with Nate and Jason Canela are coaching together right now. So shout out to Nate Guernsey. Appreciate you, my man. Next up would be the Chisholm family. This is John Chisholm. He's done so much for the podcast. It's crazy. Jon and I came up together, played for the Flames, Springfield High. He went to Spoon River for a little bit and played some ball. He is dad of the year now, coaching every sport he can. His son, John Chisholm III, JC3, talented player coming up in baseball and basketball, doing some travel basketball, playing for the Arsenal, playing for Christ the King, a talented pitcher, first baseman with a little bit of pop in his bat there. So we appreciate the Chisholm family. John has helped me set up multiple sponsorships and was solely responsible for the communication that led to the Cam Appenzeller story happening. So shout out to John, good friend of mine. Appreciate you. Next up is going to be the Erickson family. This is going to be Casey's section of the Erickson clan. Casey being my boy, an absolute baseball dog. Glenwood's head coach, played at Glenwood, SCI, was in the Yankees organization, Pirates organization, coached at Benedictine, building his dynasty out there at Chatham now. He's got some absolute dogs coming up. The next wave of Ericksons, look out. Lane, Cooper, Tripp. Been seeing videos of these guys since they were 2-3 years old. Absolutely mashing. All of them can rake, can throw. I've already heard legends about these guys. Tripp is supposed to be something special. I hear this is the next Corey Erickson 2.0. So look out for these guys. Appreciate the Erickson clan. Next up, Knadlers, Jason Knadler, El Jefe at BOS. Good friend of mine, mentor to me, former guest. Colt Knadler being his son, former guest, Chatham Glenwood, quarterback, now moving on to Lincoln Land. Melissa, the mom, running the show, the CEO of the K team. Claire, talented volleyball player, been starting on varsity at Glenwood as a freshman since her freshman year. CJ, the clown prince of the family. We appreciate the Knadlers' support. Next up, the Steinwart family. Jim Steinwart, my former coach at Springfield High School, Hall of Famer, state title winner, cool guy. He's helped the podcast so much with stats and stories and contributions. We've got a fun system going now where Jim is a flip phone guy. No shame to that at all. But so we do have a system. When I need something from Jim, I text Jim, and then Jim has June, his wife, his lovely wife, send it to me because she has a more normal phone. And that's how we do it. And I appreciate it. And I think it's funny every time we do it. So shout out to June, too. Shout out to Johnny, TJ, Nikki. Johnny's was a stud baseball player, played at UIS out there at Plains. TJ's a drummer. Shout out to Nikki as well. The Blazes family. Katie, we appreciate your support. She's got a young son, Brady Keating, coming up in the SHG system. He's a quarterback, linebacker, was on their freshman, sophomore teams this last year. Also a stud pitcher, doing some things with Maximized Pitching Labs. Look out for that guy. Katie's dad was an absolute stud at SHG back in the day. Did all sports, and then basketball at SCI and golfed at Western. Really appreciate your continued support. The Kaiser family, my guy Ryan. Dude's got a rap album coming out. Check out for that, KO. Absolute baseball guy. His whole garage is like made to look like a Wrigley Field type of place to view games. Super cool. Landon, his son's coming up in the Arsenal organization at Franklin. Little baller. Addie is going to play some softball for me and coach pitch, I think, this next year. And then Mandy's been coaching for the Arsenal and doing stats and doing her dang thing for years now. So we appreciate the Kaiser family and their support. Last but not least, Tyler Owen and his lovely family. Tyler being a teammate of mine at Murray State back in the day. An absolute dude, stud, OBC many times over. His brother played in the show. One of those guys that was kind of like on the verge of being like a pro guy, but he's got some sons coming up. Everett and Ellis coming up in the South Gibson Heat organization. My man T.O. is coaching at North High School. I think they just won a state title or were runners up in the last year or two. So doing his thing. We appreciate you guys. Let me run down my sponsors real quick because this is a national podcast. I will just mention my local sponsors here. So Washco Strength and Speed, Body Symmetry, Sheehan Lawyers, Milner Dentistry, the law offices of Stephen Kelly, Bank of Springfield, Sitco Chiropractic, Glisten Heating and Air, Eric Easley, the chiropractor, the Office Sports Bar and Grill, Hammers Radon Mitigation, BSN Sports, Cardinal Cleaning, The Crafted Stag, GT Performance Consulting, Grab a Java, Safe House, Illinois, Nate Guernsey, the Realtor, Salvaggio Steel, the Springfield Shamrocks organization, and Overtime with Jared out there. We appreciate you guys. Hope you guys enjoy this episode. We are proud to be brought to you by Hudson Chiropractic and the Hudson family. located in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. You can find them at 3232 Independence Street, HudsonCairoCape.com, 573-335-7349. They've got over 700 five-star reviews, all five-star reviews on Google. That speaks for itself. This is, of course, my former teammate, friend, brother, Murray State great, Seth Hudson, an all-time great second baseman in Racer history. He finished second all-time in hits when his career ended. Hudson Chiropractic, your bridge to a better health. They can do everything you can think of chiropractic-wise, adjustments, soft tissue, DOT exams. Seth is really doing his thing down there, and Cape has a beautiful family, raising a couple sluggers. We really appreciate your support. Thank you, Hudson Chiropractic and family. All right, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Post Game Spread. This is going to be the final episode in the Jon Huizinga story, the manimal himself. This has been quite the journey, my friend. First of all, how are you doing right now? What's up? I'm glad we're back in the saddle. New year 2026. What's up, man?
Rocking and rolling.
Yep.
This is the fun part of the year. There's a lot of fun once they get into season, but right now getting guys ramped up is one of my favorite times of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys have a good holidays, Christmas? Kids do okay? Everyone feeling good?
Yeah, pretty low key this year.
Yeah.
A lot of times we travel on the holidays, but we were home this year, so that was fun. We did some other things.
You guys are traveling son of a guns. What's the most amount of times you've been to Disney World in a calendar year?
I have no idea. My wife would be the one that is there a lot. Like a lot of times I think I'm there probably 3 or 4 times a year. But she probably goes, yeah, she's got me by a lot.
I love it. She's a special lady too, and she's going to be taking us out. We've got some amazing clips from her. Save them for the end. Could be some tear jerkers, but yeah, man, this has been rolling. I anticipate this being our last episode, and this has been so dang incredible, man. From all the people that I've talked to all the stories, hearing where you've been as a player, as a coach, we've talked with. Let me go through the roster here, but Mike Paul, your coach from the Grand Rapids A's, Greg Gunderson, your pitching coach at Michigan State, Pat Gill, friend, pitcher at Michigan State, Brandon Rogers, your catcher in any ball, Joey Gathright. It's Joey Gathright, James Hoyt Beast, former big leaguer, your wife, obviously. We heard from Shelby Miller. We're going to hear from Connor McGuinness today. I'm excited about that. The Dodgers assistant pitching coach, Bo Brisky, Parker Markel. We're going to hear from Parker today. Edwin Jackson, Tarek Skubal. We already heard from Libby. So just so dang cool to getting all through it. And so you're full swing, rocking and rolling right now with all your guys. They're starting to amp up a little bit, or?
Yes, sir.
And
yep.
And you just had a catch with Libby this morning, right? That's what?
Yeah, sure did. Yeah, and Ethan Williams, one of my guys that's in town from California.
Really? So what goes into like a catch like that? You and like Libby hits you up and says, "Hey, I want to do a little something." Like, how does that go?
Well, we've been pretty much, throughout the off season throwing already, but it was like today specifically was more like wall ball. We played a little good wall ball to start. We threw the football. Mm-hmm. And then just him and Ethan did a long toss, and then I just caught a few at the end.
Okay.
Stepped in there.
And like, are there conversations going on? Like what you guys are feeling, or what's?
Oh yeah.
Like, can you?
I think connecting to the throw and just where he's at, where the body's at, just the feels, the things right now that can be the checkpoints in season. Just getting yourself, especially as you start to build up. A lot of times, January is going to be volume month.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get a fair amount of volume in and good amount of throwing and just make sure that everything's clicking.
Okay, for sure. And then so Libby has found value in throwing a football, or you guys have found value in that?
Yeah, I know a lot of guys that like to throw the football. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Okay, cool then. Well,
I love.
What's that?
And I personally love throwing the football. So yeah,
me too. I know. We've talked about our love for spinning the pigskin in podcast past year.
Yeah, and the Nerf one's fun too.
Why the Nerf?
The one whistles.
Oh, the vortex.
Like a little
vortex.
Yeah.
You could throw those things a country mile back in the day. Yeah. I want to hear a little bit about what you guys got going on there at Prime Reaction. There's some. Oh, what we got here?
Oh, I don't know. Surprise. Okay. Howdy.
Hey, buddy, we got a special surprise for my man here. You know,
Yeah.
the Karate Kid to your Mr. Miyagi. We got Libby, Matt Liberatore, Cardinals starter, former first rounder, the dude. One of my favorite guys to interview. I was texting with him earlier today talking about how special all his contributions were. Libby, what's going on, my brother? You guys just played catch like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, we did. We just got done hanging out with each other, but I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on.
Did you keep
Must
my
have raised
secret?
me out.
Did he have any idea that you were going to jump on?
He did not. Actually, I didn't realize last night that you were waiting for me to respond to give him a time. He said he was going to check with you what time you guys are doing the podcast. And as soon as I texted you back saying what time would work, he's like, yeah, we're 12 to 2, so I can throw.
There was
I'm like,
actually some funny moments when both of you were texting me at the very same time, going back and forth, and I was like, "This is so funny that we're all trying to make this work, and we just don't need him to know that you're going to be a part of this." So that's really cool. We were actually just talking about the catch you guys have today. Can you elaborate a little bit about what you guys do when you get together and do a little bit?
yeah. I mean, obviously we're throwing when we get together, but I feel like, uh, you can speak a little bit of a different language when you play this game long enough. And
Yeah,
for me specifically, John speaks my language when I talk about throwing. And so,
yeah,
really a collaboration when we get together and play catch. And, I feel like he can feel the things that I'm feeling, and I can understand the things that he's saying in response to that. And,
yeah,
I feel like we cover a lot of ground and make a lot of progress because of that. And it's very enjoyable for me to do that because
yeah.
we don't need translation.
So beautifully put. I was just going to say, you guys have spent so much time together. There has to be an unspoken language between you guys, whereas it can be a look or you already know what he's thinking beforehand. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, definitely. There's times where we just kind of look at each other and nod our heads because we both know that it clicked in the right way, and he knows what I felt, and I
Yeah,
know what I felt. And yeah, there's definitely a nonverbal communication style that we have too. That uh, is exactly what I said. It's no words. We can just kind of look at each other, and we're on the same page all the time.
I love that, dude. I love that. Yep. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. And I was texting Zinger this today because obviously you were a first rounder just out of high school, right?
Yeah,
Didn't go to college. And I was saying your interview stuck out to me as so well spoken, so profound. Your use of language. I was like, Libby has got to be a reader, or this is a guy that continues to learn after high school because guys that just have a high school education don't talk like he just talked to me. So I just wanted to commend you. It was a very one of the most memorable side interviews that I've ever done. So kudos on you, my
thank
friend.
you.
Yeah.
Means a lot.
And I texted Zinger. I was like, "This guy's got to be a reader, right?" And he was like, "Yep, him and his wife both readers." So, good on you,
Yeah,
buddy.
definitely. Yeah,
So, so how was your off
appreciate it.
season? So what have you guys been up to this off season? Like, what needed to be addressed after this past season? If you can let me behind the veil a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say physically, this was probably the most challenging year that I've had of my career. Coming off my first year really being a reliever in 24, I threw the third most innings in baseball bullpen my year in the bullpen,
Yeah,
and then kind of switch right over to being a starter and throwing almost 160 innings as a
yeah,
starter and double my work. Um, there are definitely some physical things that I ran into that were challenging that I've never faced before. Um, and so, this offseason was kind of like, let's tear everything down and build it back up, which I think is
really.
the first time I've really done that. I felt like I was able to put band-aids on the problems that I faced during the season,
Yeah,
and they were able to get me through the rest of the season healthy, and I was able to make all 29 of my starts.
yeah,
Um,
beautiful.
the IL, but I felt like there were some bad habits that I developed during that time of trying to go out and compete and make a start every 5 or 6 days. And
Yeah,
so this offseason, we really kind of went back to our roots and back to the basics and started from
yeah,
ground zero. I've kind of revamped the delivery, rebuilt it, and
yeah.
kind of fine tuned the system, if you will.
That's so beautifully put. And like, no one else could. I imagine no one else could do it like him because no one has seen your most authentic movements since you were a child. So he knows every step that you've taken. He's seen every movement you've tried. So I love that, man. Is there anything that you were really profound when you spoke about him? Is there anything that you felt like you left out that I didn't ask you, or anything that you wanted to touch on?
Hard to say. if I left anything out, I feel like this is a topic that I could sit here and talk about for
Yeah.
days or weeks on end. There's a lot to cover, and there's a really huge inspirational story behind everything that you see today. But I think the way in which our relationship continues to grow to this day is probably the most special thing about us getting to work together. The
Yeah.
fact that, this is not something we've just dabbled in. I've known Jon now since I was 10 or 11 years old, and
Yeah.
thought he smelled like the forest coming out to our practice. And now viewing him as someone that I consider family and one of my best friends.
Yeah.
Pretty surreal that, we get to do all this together, and now at the
I know.
highest level.
I know. So cool. And let me ask you this. Obviously, other million-dollar arms now are seeking him out, and was that really cool for you to see him standing behind, Tarek Skubal at the Cy Young Award ceremony? It's like, that's my guy. Like, this has been the guy who's molded me since I was a child. Like, look, other people are validating how special this person is. Was that cool for you? Someday that's going to be you too.
Yeah, I think it's super cool, and in my honest opinion, I think it's long overdue and very well deserved.
Yep.
I've been trying to convince guys to come see him for as long as I can remember. I remember pulling my high school teammates out of practice and dragging them with me to go see him, and just really believing that, like, he can make a difference in everybody's career, because there's not
Yeah.
a one size fits all approach. It's a holistic, well-rounded approach to everything that we're doing, and everybody can benefit from that. And now, after all these years, you're seeing some of the best games start to buy into it, and I think that's pretty special.
I totally agree. Hey, and I want to ask you this, but John said it might be a secret. So if I have to edit this out, we can do that. But I heard there might be a number change, getting some swag back, a little mojo this off season. What we got?
Yeah, when I first got to the big league, I was given number 52.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Jack Flaherty at the time was 32, or he had just switched from 32 to 22, and pitcher named Daniel Ponce de Leon picked up number 32,
Mm-hmm.
and ended up getting, I think, released halfway through the year. And I was like, oh, perfect. Like, next year, that number. And we signed Steven Matz, and Steven Matz asked for number 32. And I was like, okay, that number is probably a little bit out of my price range now. So, and, he served his tenure with our team, and he's now a free agent. He went to the Red Sox this year, or he got traded at the deadline, excuse me. And that number opened up, and it was a little probably premature for me to ask, but I was like, there's no way I'm going to flip through my hands again. I went to the club the next day and said,
Fine.
hey, I hate to ask in the middle of the season, but is there any way I can lock up number 32 for next year? And he gave me, so I was very happy.
That's so cool, man. Like, what's the significance of that number to you?
Yeah. My youth club ball team, and at first it had no significance to me, and my dad was like, well, Josh Hamilton's pretty talented left-handed hitter, and at the
Sure.
time I still hit, so he was a bit of an inspiration on the hitting side of things.
Yeah.
And that kind of faded out of my career my sophomore year. He was like, Sandy Koufax, also one of arguably the best left-handers in all of baseball. He wore number 32.
Mm-hmm.
And started studying Sandy Koufax. I was going over to John's backyard trying to emulate his mechanics.
Really?
We have similar curveballs, so I just felt like it fit pretty well. And that's really, when I became a student of the game, started studying the history of it too, and kind of dove into John's old soul in baseball.
Oh, that's beautiful. Have you read the Jane Levy biography on him? It's incredible.
Yeah, so when I first got traded to the Cardinals, I did a press conference where I talked about wearing number 32 for Sandy Koufax, and a couple weeks later, I show up to spring training, and there's a book in my locker, and it's that book that a fan had sent that was actually signed by Sandy Koufax.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's incredible. And so I thought there was a really cool thing in the book where Sandy was talking about how he gripped his curveball, almost like his hands were so big that his thumb was almost off to the side a little bit. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah, he talks about splitting the ball in half. So, when you throw a heater, you throw the back half of the baseball, you're behind it. When you throw that curveball, I feel you're splitting the ball into two halves, so it makes it easier to get to the
Yeah.
front half of the baseball and really throw that front half. And that's why he talks about the thumb almost being off of it, because it's kind of like the gas pedal on the back half of the ball instead of ripping down behind the baseball.
This that's amazing. Jon, thank you so much for this moment, man. This is I started this podcast about 3 years
Thank you
ago.
for the surprise.
And like now I'm sitting here with, I think, one of the best pitching coaches in the game, and I'm sitting here with the Cardinals starting pitcher, absolute ace between me here. This is a really cool moment for me. So thank you, boys. Matt, I got one more question for you before we get out of here. Any funny stories, or just any kind of a story about Zing that you think would kind of encapsulate him a little bit before we let you go here? And thank you so much for being a part of this. Incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I mean, my first experience, I may have talked about this last time we spoke, but something that encapsulates Jon pretty well. I'd gone to see another pitching coach, and I think we talked about that being like, lesson in, slap your money on the table, good job, we'll
Wasn't
see you
enough.
next week. Yeah, and I went over to Jon's backyard, and he had me sitting on the back of the mountain, breathing on a rock. And when we were done, he gave me a palm full pink Himalayan crystal salt, chewed it straight, which I thought was the most disgusting thing ever, and then gave me mint leaves to roll up and put in my lip for anti-inflammation. And I
A
was like,
10-year-old, right? Yeah.
this is definitely different. But at 10 years old, that's when I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, this is a lifestyle, not a practice. And I enjoy, and I have enjoyed, approaching all of my work in that way.
Oh, that's beautiful. And Zing shared the best story about you too, that I think encapsulates you in many ways, and it was the jump rope story in the last podcast about how you couldn't get it the first time, and then insisted Dad stop at the sporting goods store on the way home, and then spent hours getting it, and showed up the next time, absolutely had it dialed in. I think that's a pretty incredible thing for a 10, 11-year-old kid to do. So that's a cool story too. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
My dad calls it rage to master. And
That's great. It's great. Well, hey, Lib, I don't want to keep you all day, brother, but thank you so much for joining in on us. You got anything to drop on us before you get out of here?
I don't think so. I appreciate having me on, and glad we were able to surprise Jon.
Yeah, thanks, big fella. That gave me goosebumps. I was like, hey,
I know that guy. Okay.
love that guy.
All
Let's
right,
go.
Lib, we appreciate you, brother. Thank you much.
On air.
Yeah.
Okay.
Peace. Special guests.
Nice.
That was cool, right?
Real cool.
Set it up. Okay. Let me hear.
Yeah, you definitely surprised me.
Oh, good, man. And I was seriously laughing last night as we were all texting at the same time each other, trying to, get this time right. Like, okay, I was like, Libby, what time are you throwing with him? And you were texting me like, Libby wants to throw, so when do we start? So hilarious. If you guys didn't know, Libby and I are in talks about him coming on and doing a short profile. He's going to run it by his agent, but doesn't seem like there should be an issue. So we're going to do a fun profile on Libby. So thank you for setting that up, my brother. That's what a special person.
Heck yeah. You're
Cool.
welcome.
I want to hear a little bit about what you guys going on there at Prime. What's kind of the culture there, and why is it like a dope place to continue your baseball career and get better?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think Prime Reaction as a whole, there's a lot of things going on like the longevity space.
Yeah.
And it just happens that we were kind of like the first test subject, if you will, with Fuel Factory kind of coming in and basically using the methods, using the boards, using a lot of the treadmills.
Yeah.
And learning how to apply that to what we were doing. But it happened, I mean, it just, so many of the things it was like same.
Yeah.
The mindsets, Jon, that's their growth mindset, really good support, allows me to coach, he's helps me with a lot of my business side of stuff, and allows me to stay in my lane. And then at the same time, he has a son, Chase, who's a young left-handed outfield and pitcher, and he's a gem. He's a lot. When you ask about the culture, he's a lot about the culture. He's
Okay.
he's obviously around a lot of the older guys too, but he's in the same, he's built the same as these guys.
Yeah.
All all these different guys you've talked to, you know, that they have certain traits that are the same, and he has them. Like,
Yeah.
he's very calm headed, but he works his tail off. You know, he's in the weight room, he's doing the nutrition, he's doing, you know,
Yeah.
breath play, all the things, you know. And I think it's fun to see a young guy like that coming up through, you know, and getting to watch, you know, Libby throw bullpens, or,
Yeah.
you know, any of it,
I
you
love
know.
it.
And it's been a lot of fun. We're doing some stuff with BFR throwing right now
I've been
with
seeing that, dude. Can you
Tyler
tell me
White.
about that? I know nothing behind that besides that's kind of a new concept to me. I've heard about it in, weight training before, but can you explain it
It
to
is,
me how
I
it
mean, it's
applies?
newish. Like, Tyler's been doing it for about 3 years,
Okay.
maybe three and change. And I mean, it's phenomenal, the things that we're seeing from it. But we're still in the we're doing a lot of testing on it, and, you know, the stuff we're seeing from it's phenomenal. You know, whether it's a aging guy like me, I've done it. I've been journaling it. And I think 82 times was yesterday, was my 82nd time. So
What
sometimes you
benefit?
do it on your lead leg, other times you can do it on your throwing arm. I've experimented with it on my glove arm.
What's the theory behind it? Like, why is that applicable?
So motor unit recruitment is a lot of it,
Hmm.
where, you know, because of the decrease in the blood flow, you know. And Tyler would be the one to give you all the good science with it. I
Yeah.
can tell you that. I mean, for me, it's helped me find a looseness in my throw
Really?
that I kind of searched for, yeah, in a way, especially since, you know, injuries, or,
Yeah.
you know, any car accident and any of the fun stuff we've talked about. But it's like
Sure.
getting back to, like, just that natural instinctive throw. And I mean, it makes the shoulder just happy. I've seen so many different guys get happy with it. It's fun for
Get happy with that. I like that.
yeah, I mean, just to get happy with throwing, where it's like, you
Yeah.
know, when guys are throwing and they're in pain, it's not a happy thing. I have, you know, you see guys, let's say, in not necessarily a rehab situation. I'm not rehabbing guys personally, but the guys that come in that are like through rehab, that are rebuilding up, you know. And you see it steal the fun or the joy or the happy with the throw. But
Oh,
when you see
I can resonate with that.
this, I've just seen it restore so many guys where they're like, okay,
Yeah.
that was that feeling, you know. And it just, I think, in a way too, the feeling that it gives you with the occlusion, like on
Yeah.
the arm, it's at 50%.
Yeah.
So, but it's almost like a hug on your arm, but then you let go of it, and it's like you still throw, you know. So it kind of connects you to your whole throw, if you will.
Ooh, you're a special guy, man. This has been so cool. There's like, the one of the interesting parts about this is that I go back and I put after we do an episode, obviously to keep this going, I have to cut it up and make reels and put out little videos. And you're so dang quotable, man. I can't. It's hard for me to go back in and chop it up because I'm like, oh, everything you say, I feel like is worthy of like chopping up into something that is, like a half, 30 seconds a minute. So it's a good problem to have, but man, you are baseball Yoda, my friend. Here, I know Parker has since moved on from Prime and is doing his own thing, but we have a lot of really cool Parker stuff, and I know you and
Love
Parker have a
Parker.
special relationship, and it's long and it's deep. And before we get into some of his stuff here, I'd love to hear a little bit about you guys' relationship and what it is to you.
Well, Parker was around from the original days of when we first opened up Fuel Factory. I mean, he was,
Yeah,
at the time, honestly, I forget exactly who he was, in AAA somewhere. And, you know, he was coming in the off season, and, you know, obviously he was there through the whole pandemic, all the backyard stuff. I mean, he's been there pretty much every step of the way since the backyard baseball lab.
yeah,
So, you know, getting to watch him, you know. And I think some of the stuff that we've got to explore, you know, everybody's got their own areas, and it's like he's so electric. I mean, he's a thunder chucker, no doubt, like, in a wipeout slider,
yeah,
you know. And I think it was fun getting to see him, especially, I mean, he made it to the big leagues,
yeah,
and I mean, that's, you know, there's just so much joy in that, and so much
yeah.
yeah, it's awesome to see, you know. And not, obviously, not every guy gets to experience that, but he
Right.
did. And, you know, now seeing him transition from the player, you know, he's a dad. I love seeing him around his son. You
Yeah,
know, they're fun. He's got a lot of his same energy. And then getting to watch him coach. He's getting into the coaching space. He puts his heart and soul into it. So
Yeah, I love it, man. And let me say this, I'm not just saying this. This was another memorable interview that I did, a side interview, and him and I feel like have sparked up a friendship, and like we're actually just texting independent of this, of the podcast anymore. And just because it'll be personal between him and I, but we've been through some shared experiences, and I just really I thought we were gonna have like a 10-minute conversation, and him and I talked for an hour when we ended up talking. So I could just tell that he's a special soul too, and you know,
he is, and if you get him on a microphone, oh boy, like if I could tell a funny story, or it's not
please.
just once, it's so many different times, but it's like he'll this was at the old factory, we had the microphone hooked up,
Mhm.
and all of a sudden here comes Parker, and he would just, whether he's quoting something or he's so dang funny, like he keeps the room cracking.
He's been invited to be a guest, and we're gonna find our right timing with it. So
You should definitely ask him about when he gets on the microphone.
okay. I will. I'm happy to.
I was telling him about, because he was coaching up at Pinnacle, helping out with some of the pitchers, and he as well. I'm like, dude, you gotta just get on the microphone for a game, announce the game for me.
It was
He's
special
got such a
experience.
good voice, and he just got, his personality just comes alive. It was awesome.
Okay. All right. You want to get into some clips here, my friend?
Let's do it. I'd love to hear it.
Let's go. I've been saving these ones. Special guy. Let's go. Getting hooked up with Zing to start off with.
Yeah, so the story kind of goes, I played about 15 years of pro ball. In those first 7 years, those first 7 off seasons, I was doing my off season throwing program and training at the high school I went to, Mountain Ridge High School. So, these years go by, and Matthew Liberatore ends up going to Mountain Ridge. I'm older than him quite a bit, and he ends up going to Mountain Ridge, and we cross paths every now and then when he was like a freshman at Ridge, and I would be there and just kind of in and out of my life. And that's kind of how I met Zing initially. And then, so 2017, I had a really rough year on and off the field, and was going through a lot of stuff, and ended up taking like half of the year off of baseball, and ended up getting signed by the Diamondbacks in 2018. Got released. And when I got released by the Diamondbacks, I saw on Instagram or Facebook or something that Jon just opened up Fuel Factory. And I reached out. I'm like, hey, are you cool if me and a few of my buddies come check it out? Because he just started it up. And, my idea for him was just to get people in the building to help spread the word, to help kind of promote the place. So we went, and I think that was like the first time I met Jon was at Mountain Ridge Field in passing. But the first time, like, we worked together from a pitching standpoint was that time right there. 2018 goes by, and 2018 off season hits, and I'm working with Jon. And I got signed by the Mariners, and then just kind of been with a bunch of teams since. He played a big part of helping me get to the big leagues. Just from a mechanical standpoint, with sports performance and velocity and just stuff. But he helped me a lot with the mental side of it too. He's, baseball aside, I kind of look at him as a older brother type, older brother figure. Me being the oldest kid in my family, I don't really have a, older sibling, obviously. So
that's the start. Cool.
Yeah, he's a brother too. Yep.
I could tell. I could tell. Next one is called Magnetic Way.
Just being able to pick his brain and kind of learn from him for the last, what's it been since, almost 10 years now. So he's become a really close friend, and I totally get all the things you're saying about, just keeping in contact. And he's got a very magnetic way about his personality, and just in social settings, where he's very accepting of everyone, no matter what your background is, no matter what you look like. I think he's done a very good job of normalizing, the guys who are doing really big things in the big leagues right now. Obviously with guys like Scooble and Burns and Hader, like, and Liberatore now, it's like he's obviously doing the mental game right as well, because that's half of it. So yeah, man, it's been fun. really good friends. We see each other a lot.
You got anything, my friend, or keep rolling?
Keep rolling. Yeah, I love him.
Cool.
Oh, now.
This next one is called Full Psycho. Here we go.
We've been working on the hot air balloon crew together for the last year and a half, and now it's just part-time, but I mean, at the beginning we were both working quite a lot, and I mean, this last year in September, October, November, December, January, February, he literally would go to the hot air balloon at 4 or 5 a.m., do the morning, sun coming up job, and then would have 8 lessons after that. And he was going hot air balloon, then 8 lessons, so it'd be like a legit 18-hour day, like a full psycho. Yeah. Wow. But that's his love for his kids and his family, and wanting to get after it and provide and give his kids the best life possible.
I like that one a lot. That was cool. Those are some long days, my friend, if that's how it's going sometimes.
We've had some adventures together. No doubt. Some good sunrises too.
Oh, I bet. Nothing beats a good sunrise, my friend. Let's go with this next one is Wouldn't Have. Here we go.
Did Zing help you when you were going through your own anxieties and difficulties in the game, get yourself back mentally to who you are in a good place?
I mean, if I didn't go down that path with him kind of reaching or putting me in that direction, like I said earlier, in that year I had in 2017, that was super rough. I would never have gotten to my dream. I mean, because I was going there that off season. I was spending 6 days a week there, spending 5 to 6 hours a day there. Fully committed on getting to the big leagues. Yeah, my story's kind of nuts, dude. I mean, I know maybe you should be a guest.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, he's
next one,
got a crazy story. I mean, it's a story of perseverance, but it's the love, and it's and I think it's ultimately too, it's his energy, where it's he rises above that noise that's out there.
I love that. Next one is positive energy, on the energy theme.
Oh, no.
I literally went from, the basement level of a hospital to facing Mookie Betts at Fenway within 16 months, dude. It was fucking wild.
Man.
No, so yeah, and this is all the stuff that Zing and I have chopped up about, and that he's helped me so much with personally. And I know you said you just talked with Edwin Jackson as well, and he's another guy that he helped him a ton towards the end of his career, because I mean, you talk about a lifer, a guy played for 20 years, so that adjustment could not have been easy. He's just positive energy, positive juju. I love going on our Sedona trips. I love the fact that he's making a name for himself as a coach, man. I mean, he's got 2 Cy Young winners under his belt and maybe working on 3 or 4 right now. So, Corbin Burns and Scooble.
You got anything, my friend? What you got?
That was just funny. But yeah, I remember we've had a lot of fun in Sedona too. Letting the kid
Has he been
out.
a regular on some of those?
I wouldn't say regular, but he's definitely been there. I think he's more, especially he's got young families, so that makes it tough. Like we've talked about with several of these guys, where it's it's hard to get away sometimes when you're wearing a dad hat in the morning. Tough to dip out at.
Here's a cool story here. This is that craziest thing I've seen.
The original deal was we were going to coach, and us giving our coaching time there was our rent. So we did this for 8 months, right? And Zinger did it for a couple years. Just the best setup. We had a great high school facility. We were coaching there, everything. So the season happened, and there's a disgruntled senior, second baseman, who the grandpa calls the district and throws us under the bus, saying we're charging this much money for lessons and we're not being charged rent.
Oh.
3 days go by. We're figuring out paperwork. It was going to be $30 a week, something super manageable. And those 3 days go by. They play a game against a local high school. Another disgruntled senior, pinch hit homer, rounds third base and hits the third base's coach's hand too hard. Third base's coach's kid is a freshman who starts on varsity, and the coach confronts the kid in the dugout after the homer, and a full-blown brawl breaks out between the own team. Oh, God. And this is the team that Zinger's the pitching coach for. So there's a brawl. The parents start fighting in the stands, own parents. It turns into one big mosh pit towards the club. It was a whole thing. So Zinger calls me, and he's like, I don't think we're going to be allowed to give lessons at Pinnacle anymore. I was like, why? What happened? He's like, dude, I spent 13 years in indie ball, and this hands down was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
You got anything, buddy? Do you remember this?
Oh, I remember. I would say no comment. I want nothing to do with that. I put that in the eraser bucket.
Boop. All right, gone. Let's go. The next one is everyone needs a zing in their life. Everyone needs a zing in their life. Here we go.
And I know it's about Zing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's one of those things you live and you learn and you go through all these experiences in life and, you need someone there sometimes that's not family, that's not blood to give you a, third party opinion. Literally the man with that. I feel like so many people go to him when they're in a jam.
Okay. Next one is cool to witness.
Well, it's really cool to witness firsthand because you never know whether he's working with a 12-year-old or a guy making, $30 million a year.
Yeah.
He tries to teach each person, the same and with respect. And he knows that everyone's different. Everyone moves differently. Everyone's wired differently. And this thing isn't cookie cutter anymore. It's not like what it used to be.
Yeah.
You got to kind of strive on your uniquenesses or your quirkiness as a pitcher. Not everyone can have perfect American old school mechanics like Garrett Cole or like where it's just like perfect, like what you'd see on Tom Amansky. From
Tom Amansky.
Cool.
He's
got
so
it?
right though. It is and I think that's why I like watching him coach too, where it's like you can see him doing the same thing in his own way, where it's like he's letting guys be unique and move how they move, and then helping them find their throw.
Do you see some of your teachings being passed on through him, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely some of the stuff has probably transferred, and he has his own stuff,
Sure.
because when I got to know him too, he had the guy threw 100 miles an hour. I mean, it was, there was a lot of things that he did right and that he knows, the different drills that maybe he did growing up. And, but I think it's fun seeing him get creative outside the box. And we've definitely had a lot of conversations and watched videos on guys. And so I think it's,
Parker. All right, here we go. Guy I go to.
I mean, you go through so many things in life and you rely on certain people, kind of like what you said, like we kind of already alluded to it. You kind of rely on these certain people and, he's kind of that guy that
Did Zing help you when you were going through your own?
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Restart that.
I mean,
sorry.
You go through so many things in life and you rely on certain people, kind of like what you said, like we kind of already alluded to it. You kind of rely on these certain people and, he's kind of that guy that when I don't want to talk to my dad, I don't want to talk to my mom, I don't want to talk to my wife. And just, he's got a very, very level head on his shoulders. And, he's told me a lot about his past too, obviously. And he's been through a lot of very cool stuff and a lot of shitty stuff. And, he has a very good head on his shoulders when it comes to rolling with the punches.
I can tell you guys have talked about some things. Like you guys have shared some time. Yeah?
Definitely. Yeah, we definitely have.
I love that.
Yeah,
here we
the
go.
clubhouse. It's like clubhouse, but sometimes it's like you've been there, like the guys that sometimes stay late and you just have, other kinds of conversations versus, mechanics or whatever. It's like
Absolutely.
The lifestyle.
Life isn't easy. Here we go.
Kind of sprinkle that in there and see if you get anything else out of him with that, because he's told me a few stories about, and I'm being fully open and I love Zing to death, but like he's the car accident, I think that messed his back up was the cherry on top as far as his dark place in life. Like he went to some low places.
Really?
And, yeah.
Okay.
And I want him to bring this up to you naturally and organically, because I don't want him to know I told you. But I told him my deepest, darkest shit, and he told me some of his deepest, darkest shit. And I know there's a lot of things on that conversation you can have with him that is very happy and positive and making Cy Young pitchers and creating this cool atmosphere of training. But he's also been through the ringer, a lot of stuff. And this life isn't easy. You hit adversity at some point.
That's the truth, brother. That's the truth.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think we've, with respect to what he says, I think we've gone pretty in depth into your injuries and how you felt about them, what you went through. So I felt comfortable playing that there. Just wanted to say.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then here we go. Magnetic calmness.
I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like in conversation, whether it's talking or he's in a coaching mode, there's just some type of magnetic calmness that he kind of gives off. Like there's no worry in the world going on, and the only thing that matters is what's right in front of you, that rep in the moment. And I think he's worked hard on that in his life, just to try and be where your feet are in the moment.
Ooh, there we go.
That's Zinger's big thing. He said, he always says, "Be where your feet are."
Yep.
Yeah. Mindfulness.
Yeah, and that's why he always wears no shoes.
I love that.
No, but the natural stuff with him going to Sedona all the time and really pushing natural remedies for pain, aches and pains, and that's the other thing. He, like you said, in his kind of Eastern philosophy of that type of stuff, martial arts. I mean, there's so many different things that he brings to the table that aren't baseball that still gets you better as a person. So
I love listening to this guy talk, man. That's why there's so many clips of his, because I just thought he had so much really cool stuff to say.
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time together.
Could tell.
He's a
Next
beauty
one is
too.
each pitch is a new game. We've got a couple more, and then we'll move on here.
Ooh, I like that.
I mean, like you take 90% of pitching coaches in America, right? And it's a cookie cutter type thing. It's not trying to throw any certain people under the bus, but it's the drive lines and the treads and, all these places that preach training one way for each person rather than each person having their own separate thing. So, yeah, I mean, he, the breath work helps you kind of bring yourself back to that moment. He always says each pitch is its new game. So when you get the ball back from the catcher, you just focus on this one pitch. This one pitch is the only pitch I'm throwing today. I got to give all my effort and energy into this one pitch, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then you get the ball back, and you think the same thing. This is my one pitch, like rather than going out there and being like, I have to throw 85 pitches. You should have the mindset of like, okay, I get the ball back. Let's get everything I can into this one pitch and win this pitch, and then we'll go on to the next one.
Each pitch is its own game. That's so beautiful.
Love it.
Man, that's good. Love that.
Parker, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, right. Here we go. Train on the tracks, and then funny moments will be our last one here.
Train on the
Sounds
tracks.
like he had a really Zing had a really impactful part on your career when you were going through some stuff. What credit do you think he deserves for kind of getting you straightened out and getting to the big leagues?
I mean, a big part of it, because, when you're not with your team or your organization during the season, those other 6 months, you're at home on your own. A lot of players, their careers the train will get off the tracks, just not staying focused. And with what I was going through at that time in my career, in my life, it's just the timing worked out to where he really did help me a lot. Obviously, my wife and my dad and, my immediate family, the ones that are really, really, really close, had a big part of it. But when it came to that kind of that third party, opinion and, need some tough love, that's the guy to talk to.
Okay. And then our last one here, funny moments.
Totally. I mean, we, we're around each other a lot, so there's definitely a lot. Trying to think. So we went to Sedona about a month ago, and he was the first one to cold plunge into the creek. Yeah. And it was really, really cold. And then watching him trying to get his footing on the algae on the bottom of the rocks was pretty funny.
Flipping around.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what else. There was a time at the old field factory on Pinnacle Peak where he was throwing live BP to one of the guys that worked there. They were just having some fun. And I gotta answer this. And some guy hit a ball off his shin, and I'll never forget seeing just screaming on the ground, just it absolutely squared him up. I know that's not that funny, but I mean, if you asked him now, he'd probably laugh about it.
Yeah. That's
Do you
funny.
remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Mark Kruger. Yeah, my boy Mark Kruger
Really?
hit one off my phone. And it's funny because I remember I was working on something with the two seam, and sometimes I'll like close my eyes, and I was like almost like eyes closed throw, and I let go, and all of a sudden it was like a one hop just right off the shin. It was like 103 off my shin. Yeah, I definitely have video of it somewhere because we took it off the security.
Okay.
Sounds like a moose.
Is there audio? There's audio to it?
Yeah, the crack of my shin is as loud as the bat. where it's like I literally I went in, and I rarely go to a doctor, and I went to a doctor and they were like, it wasn't broken. They said it would have been easier if it was broken, but it was like there was a
Really?
tennis ball inside the bone because of the inflammation. Because it was like, and I've been kicking things with my shins forever. He's like,
Right.
you got some hard shins. I'm like,
Came in handy, my friend.
they're
Well, hey,
harder now. Yeah, they had to have gotten stronger. But yeah, that was a moment, no doubt. I remember that.
we're gonna move on to Connor McGuinness here now, and this was
Connor
I really
McGuinness.
enjoyed. So cool talking with this guy. So if you guys don't know, this is the assistant pitching coach with the LA Dodgers. He's Mark Pryor's right hand man. He is one of the founders of Clean Fuego, one of our sponsors here. You can still get 10% off if you use the post game spread at cleanfuego.com. I really believe in these guys. I think they're awesome. I know you guys use their stuff too. But
Every day.
a really bright guy. Obviously, you guys have a kind of a cool history together.
Yeah, I mean, Connor's one of the smartest pitching guys, and he's very
you can tell how bright
relatable.
he is.
Like he can translate things in a really clear and
Ooh,
just he can simplify. He's very smart, but he can take it and
Yeah.
make it very applicable.
just
I love watching him.
like it is.
Yeah, I love watching him. He was in whatever day it is. He was in yesterday or 2 days
really?
ago.
Oh, wow.
It was yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Had some
So-
days.
What was the start of you guys' relationship? How'd you guys first start getting hooked up and knowing each other?
I forget who. It might have been Mike that even connected us with Clean Fuego, his brother. But
Yep.
there was, the pandemic hit and everything shut down, and
Yep.
we happened to have the backyard set up. And I just
Yep.
remember getting a text from somebody, and they're like, "Hey, can Connor bring over some arms?" And I was like, absolutely. I'd love to meet this guy, because I think I feel like we had maybe done a Zoom call or something. And then, he started coming in, and I think the rest was history. And then they won the World Series, and it's like a lot of the guys that were back there were the guys that pitched in Game 7. So it's pretty fun to watch.
Do you feel, and we're going to get to this story, it's so cool. We've touched on it a little bit, but do you feel a connection to that World Series at all?
100%.
You do? Yeah. Got to, right?
Yeah.
So cool.
Rooting for those guys for sure, where it was like,
Okay.
and getting to know them and watch them and, absolutely.
So cool. So let me, we'll start running through this stuff here. So first clip is going to be how Connor saw getting hooked up with you. Here we go.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually got connected with Jon back in 2020. My brother and I were a bunch of idiots, so we launched a business like 2 weeks before COVID hit. And he was cool and kind enough to kind of reach out. He got the joke, and it was really early on when we had first began. We all hopped on a Zoom call to just kind of talk about Clean Fuego and whatnot, and it was great to kind of get to know him and his crew, and kind of talk through the training device and how to incorporate it or use it, and then from there, Jon and I just kind of developed a relationship, and he was gracious enough to kind of help us out through this COVID storm leading into the 2020 season. So that's kind of how it all originated.
That's cool to hear. Yeah. So similar, kind of what you echo there. And then here's his COVID story. So this is like, I love this story. Here we go. And then obviously you can riff off it. So COVID story, Connor McGuinness. Let's go.
But Jon told me to ask you about the COVID situation. He said it was funny. He said you had you had to bring a bunch of guys to him or something like that, or
I don't know if we're past the statute of limitations here. You don't want to get Jon or myself here in trouble, but what was awesome about it, I'm being sarcastic somewhat.
Okay.
But we had connected obviously through that Zoom call, and Jon and I had hit it up and kind of bouncing ideas off of one another and whatnot. And when COVID shut down, at the time for me, I was with my my current wife, and we were just dating at the time, so she and I were stuck at the home too, right there in Glendale, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And we all were kind of anticipating, like, hey, are we having a season? Are we not having a season? And, the Dodgers, we were clearly on a mission given everything that had happened the previous years, and we just got Mookie Betts and David Price. And so I kind of had this group of guys that I was still working with, but it was very difficult to find a location to actually throw bullpens or train at. And I was like, hey, John, this is kind of crazy, but do you have anyone that, has a mound or something? And fortunately enough, he knew a gentleman, I believe his name is Michael Sims, awesome guy. He's got a couple stud kids too that are coming up the system. It'll be fun to watch. But he hit me up. He was like, yeah, we're open. I'm going to be doing lessons at this guy's place while I can't use his facility. That was John talking. And so I showed up. I said, look, man, I don't want to make things weird for you, but I'm going to be bringing some guys through here. I hope that's okay. And I don't know. I can't remember if I had specifically told John, but I don't think we really made it clear to Michael. So I rolled in there with Dustin May, Tony Gonsolin, Julio Urias, Josiah Gray.
Oh, shit.
And so Victor Gonzalez.
That's great.
Quite honestly, and you can say whatever you want, but that, quite frankly, being able to go there and work out and throw and keep those guys built up and be prepared for the 2020 season, it kind of gave us a nice little advantage. And those guys were instrumental in winning the thing. Everyone's always going to remember Julio throwing the last pitch, but Victor Gonzalez hitting the scene, D. May, Tony, like throwing huge innings for us. And JoJo was hilariously on the taxi squad, and in hindsight, we definitely could have used him on the postseason roster. But it was just a very fortunate circumstance, and we got in a little bit of trouble once the organization kind of found out we were throwing. It wasn't like the safest mound or setting, and word kind of got out in the neighborhood, and we're throwing a bullpen, and I'm looking behind home plate, and we've got like 20 kids sitting there watching these guys throw. And I was like, hey guys, we are still in a pandemic, can we please shut this down? But I can't imagine how cool it must have been for some kids in the neighborhood with the pandemic going on. You walk across the street to get to go watch some of these World Series champions. So it was a really cool situation.
Dude, that was
What a fucking cool story, man. I never use the F-bomb, but that's appropriate. That's such a cool story. What do you got, man? What are your memories of that?
Dustin May throwing 97 in the backyard.
Could you imagine being a kid peeking over a fence and watching Dustin May throw 100 miles an hour in someone's backyard?
Well, the fun part is there was some other group that was there with one of my buddies that trains guys, Jordan Zimmerman, and he had a crew that was, good, but they were younger guys. A lot of them were younger, but they'd see these older guys, and it was like you could see some influence just by watching. It was like backyard wiffle ball, but then you'd see some different styles. You'd see Dustin May's leg kick, or Julio throwing biscuits back there. It was fun. It was a cool culture. Backyard boys. Scoop threw back there. Liam Hendricks threw back there. There's Justin Miller. There was a herd of guys. Zepshinsky. Yeah,
And
it was.
This was Michael Sims' backyard. A guy named Michael Sims. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
And then is this just a dad, or what? Who is Michael Sims?
I took him out of the facility and put him over there.
Really? For this?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Because we were basically
man,
whatever you want to shut down or whatever.
That's crazy, man. Yeah. So absolutely. He even said it. He said that was an advantage that they were still able to work while other people could not work. So that
I think it was for a lot of these guys.
These mounds, man.
Otherwise, they're shut down, and it's like once you're built up, it's nice to stay there versus like if you had just shut all the way down, it's going to take longer to crank back up. You never know what types of injuries or, any kind of roadblocks on the way. But yeah, it's nice to keep guys checking. So it was a peace of mind for us too, because it was almost like we were like away from it. It was like we're on an island just away from whatever was going on.
Did that at all feel surreal? Like while you're back there, like all these $1 million arms are just in like some dude's backyard? That's just in a neighborhood. That must have felt so
In a
unique.
way, but I mean, there was other teams too, like, because before we shut down, we were in Fuel Factor doing the same thing, where it was like, we had other
Mhm.
teams that were coming in, herds of
Yeah.
them at a time with their pitching
Okay.
coaches. So, like, for me too, it was a chance to learn from those guys as well as getting to watch the
Oh,
guys.
yeah. Just a hodgepodge cornucopia of ideas and experience and
Yeah, and just
pitching
talk shop,
ninjas
you know
out
what I
there,
mean?
dude. That's sick.
Between those, and like, hey, what's he working on? What's this? What's that? Talk the data,
Yeah.
talk that because I know with Connor too, like Connor taught me a lot about the data stuff, as especially I was going from Rapsoda to TrackMan, and there's, things that are similar, but things that are different, and, just starting to learn.
Yeah.
And yeah,
He he called himself a nerd who was good at interpreting all the data and whatnot that is in baseball these days and pitching and whatnot. So
I mean,
interesting
yeah,
to
if he
hear.
wants, yeah,
You,
but he's a cool guy though. I say too, like, yeah, he's a
yeah.
he's a cool nerd if he's a nerd. The guys love him too.
Yeah.
I mean, they gravitate towards him like
Yeah.
he like I said, he was in yesterday, and guys, he's having conversations and helping guys, and
I tell
yeah,
you
it's
what, there was
awesome.
a real easy way. I found there was a real ease to talk to him when I talked to him. There was just like, as soon as I picked up the phone with him, it was just like we were old buddies talking instantly. So that was cool. Next one from him is called Foot in the Door. Here we go.
No, without question. I think, for me, I was able to get an opportunity with my foot in the door, kind of being somewhat of the nerdy guy that understood the
There
numbers
it is.
and the data backing it, and then trying to find the artistry of piecing the two together.
Ooh.
And
Yeah, well said.
it may not have occurred to him, but I do take pride in trying to observe and learn from just kind of body language, tone, when and how to say something during a bullpen session, or
Okay.
just the time to not even say anything. And
Yeah.
just being able to kind of bounce ideas off of him with some of the things that we had been working on with some of the individuals, and taking in some of his thoughts and ideas on what he was seeing. It was just really nice to have kind of another brain to bounce ideas off of, a soundboard per se, to try to just see what he's seeing. I think
Yeah.
what I love about our organization is, we have Mark Pryor and Honeycutt and Charlie Huff and all these massive name guys who have done it at all sorts of levels, but there's no egos over here. And
cool.
that's been a joy for me to work and grow in that space. And Jon kind of shared that sentiment. And so what was awesome is just kind of being able to pick his brain on some things, and kind of pick and choose what was working for guys. So I definitely learned a lot from him, just on watching how he carried himself and how he presented ideas to the individual. It wasn't a cookie cut approach. It was very much more individualized to what the one person needed at that time.
I think it's cool to hear that he was observing you and taking things from you as well, while you were doing the same from him. Right?
Yeah, same right there. Students of the game.
And I loved how. And what did he say too? That was beautiful about being like the nerdy data guy and trying to merge that with the artistry of pitching. Ooh, that was it,
I mean,
dude. And then, a lot of people.
Coaching is art
Go ahead,
too,
I'm
right?
sorry.
Where it's like when you watch him, he's an artist the way
Yeah.
he coaches.
Yeah. And even what he said about, how to talk to someone during a bullpen, or recognizing body language and stuff like that. That's the artistry of it, right? Like being a pitching coach and being in tune with the player, with your pupil to some degree.
Yeah, and I think too, like even in life too, where it's like giving advice when it's asked for versus like just talking to talk. It's like sometimes I feel like people feel like they're in a position where they're supposed to give advice to people, but like if people are, in a different space, then they may hear it different,
Right.
And I think sometimes it's interesting, especially just thinking back to the backyard, but it was like we just sit down and talk. And sometimes if I'm talking to this guy and he hears me say something, it might resonate more with him.
Yeah.
Because you're actually talking to somebody else, but so it's not so personal. It's like you can kind of hear it from the outside, because a lot of times these guys have thrown a lot of baseballs. It's like they've heard everything in the book.
Every single
They've had
thing.
this guy tell that or that guy tell, and it's not rocket science, like we joke, like even Gundy talked about that, right? It's not rocket science, but when they can relate to something and then they're like, okay, I can see that for myself. Do I do that? And I think
Yeah.
that's why the power of the mastermind group is so fun to be in, and, sitting there.
Yeah.
And I mean, in my mind, I see like Dustin May was sitting back there and we had a young catcher back there, Tanner Smith. He's a good catcher. And he was in high school catching Dustin May, and
Yeah.
hearing the conversation afterwards and just like, how to set up for a certain guy, or, there's just
Yeah.
so much that goes into, when I'm watching Connor yesterday too, he talks sights a lot, where it's like the same thing with me. If the throw's on and it's not going where we want it to, we got to understand spray pattern, but then we got to adjust our scope versus like trying
Yeah.
to keep tinkering with mechanics, and I
Yeah.
think it's like we've talked about going beyond mechanics, and I think another thing too, like watching him, he likes to do like I do. I like to stand in the box like a hitter would. So I can see, the ball coming out and see if it's popping or if it's, if he's slowing down, or there's just certain
Yeah.
things where it's like from a hitter's view, it's really the only view that matters. The
That's cool.
TrackMan can tell us something, but if, the TrackMan numbers are good and you're getting raked, it doesn't matter, right? It's like we need
Mm,
pitches that are executed
dude.
and have
No.
effect, you know?
No, I can see why
It's
you
like
and
the
Connor
joke,
got
it's like
along.
passing the eye test. It's like if you can pass the eye
Yeah.
test.
That's cool. I've never heard of a pitching coach doing that. It makes total sense to me for you to see. I mean, that's what a hitter is going to be seeing. That's what you're trying to fool. So why not get a clear view of that? I love that,
Yeah, I
and I
remember
think,
Bob Welch was the guy that would stand in there like we're with
ooh,
the Hoyt Beast. We would throw bullpens, and I remember Bob Welch standing in there, and he he wouldn't wear shoes either, and he'd have his socks on from fishing in the morning or something, and
yeah,
he'd stand in the box, or he'd stand like right behind like where the umpire was, because you see things different than just standing behind the guy or next to the guy.
are you talking about Bob Welch, the pitcher,
Yeah.
like the AIDS pitcher, like 80s,
Yes, sir.
90s?
Yes, sir.
Oh, cool, man.
Yep. God.
Oh, right on.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was
beautiful.
tight with Tony Phillips. Him and Tony Phillips were tight. So
Okay,
I got to meet Bob through Tony.
awesome, beautiful, man. Yeah, the amount of people that you've met through the game is pretty astounding, the connections you made. I think a lot of guys have echoed kind of what we're talking about with Connor, where he's good at the artistry, but also blending the data too. I think you're probably pretty good at that too, at seeing all the aspects that there is to pitching and not just being so dominant on one part of it. Let's move on to another clip here. This has been some cool dialogue. This is a comfortable environment.
Yeah, I'll joke with them. It's like, hey, these are all cool to do and whatnot. Don't you dare take D-May into the woods again. I don't want to see any more videos of D-May throwing on a stump out in the woods. But no, all joking aside, I think what he's done is he's created a safe space. A safe space
Yep.
that makes sense and is truly applicable to what the guys are working on. And anytime I'll talk with Shelby or even a name like Stetson Alley or some of these other guys, they just find Jon's presence refreshing. And getting guys to kind of buy into some of the kumbaya stuff that they might eye roll at or not really understand. He puts it in a sense that, hey, this is why we're doing it. He's not going to just pepper you on what we're doing today. This is why we're doing it. And I think it's just easier for the brain to comprehend that and then take the new information and run with it. So I think, he's just done a fantastic job of making it that safe, kind of comfortable environment for these guys.
That's a cool way to put that. Safe, comfortable environment. I think a lot of guys have said that too. Very right. Okay.
Well, I think
Next
too,
one is going to be called.
it's like guys are rooting for each other too, like in that space, and it's like guys are open to share. Guys are open to
Yep.
not necessarily like,
sure.
hey, you should do this, but like, hey, I think about it this way, and then he's like, hey, I think about it this way, and you see that it's okay to think about it your own way, but you'll still see like success leaves clues, and you'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, he's externally focused, so he's externally focused, like,
Yeah.
and then you see the young guy that's, he's so internally domed up, and it's like, oh, maybe if I can learn how to get out there, like I see this guy
Man.
do or this guy do,
Yeah.
and guys like to watch each other, it's like they can pick up things. It's a fun environment
Who?
for sure. Like, yeah, you got to come
Mhm.
check out Prime Reaction. It's a party.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, when I make my pilgrimage down there to do the Sedona trip, I want to get the whole experience, my friend. See it all.
Got to.
Let's run. The next one here is going to be Run With It. Here we go.
No, I just think it was one of those things where, you know, what I loved about Jon is his ability to kind of feel out a situation. You know, obviously social media is a massive monster these days, and a lot of times people will just want to say like, oh, Josh Hader came to my spot, let me post this video of him throwing and whatnot, but he was always very polite about how he went about it. He made a comfortable environment and setting for these guys, you know. You can imagine how difficult it is for these guys to find a comfortable place to throw and work on things without kind of being berated by, you know, different ideas or mindsets and whatnot. And so I think he was able to build on something that he already had, but also show that, hey, I've got these big name guys, Glass now, and these other guys coming through. It's a cool little space to come work, and Jon's one of those guys that can attack someone's mental game without them even knowing he's helping improve it. So I think it was.
Okay, audio is getting a little warbled there at the end there, but some cool stuff there. And I think we're just run to our next one here. This is going to be assets.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think necessarily. It was the funny thing of just messing with him about, you know, don't be taking my giant valued assets into the woods too much, buddy. But you know, and I kept joking that I wanted to make sure that we traded for Libby, and wanted to get him over, give him an opportunity, because we were joking there were some things there that we could potentially help and unlock for him, and unfortunately he was just doing way too damn well for us to even have an ability to trade for him. The value was way too high. So no, it was I'm trying to think of any, like the COVID stuff was hilarious. You know, even we had a young catcher with us. I wish I could have remembered his name. He was an absolute stud, though. I think he ended up going to like Oregon State or Oklahoma State, something, State something. But it was just so impressive, because a lot of times when you're trying to throw these bullpens, you get a poor kid who, you know, it's like, hey, you're going to be catching, you know, 98 sinkers here and nasty splits from this, and Julio's breaking ball, and the sidewinding Victor Gonzalez and the JoJo ride ball, all this stuff. And this kid just was killing it. You know, it was astonishing to just kind of see him come in and be able to dominate that. And our guys love throwing to him, you know, just despite the mound setup and whatnot. You know, it from the initial view of it would look to the naked eye, it wouldn't pass the eye test of like a good environment to be having big leaguers throw. But given the circumstances of the world and everything that was going on, Jon created this really cool environment that honestly motivated these guys to show up. I mean, half the battle is getting these guys to just be there, be present. And it wasn't just kind of a, hey, let's just check the box and throw. It was an awesome opportunity for these guys to kind of refine and work on their game. So, you know, I can't thank him enough for it. Everyone will have their commentary on what the 2020 championship looked like or counted or whatnot. But for all of us, it without a doubt counts. And for us to then be able to kind of take a similar crop of guys and do it again here this past year, you know, he really helped kind of lay down the foundation that we've been trying to accomplish with this organization. So I can't thank him enough, seriously.
Oh man, I'm gonna be honest, Johnny. I did this interview so long ago that some of these clips I kind of forgot some of them. So like, I've only seen them in name. So that was incredible. I mean, that was probably half a year ago when I did that. But that's so cool that he's giving you credit for, you know, your piece of that. You got anything, my friend?
Just, I love his perspective and just awesome human.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Next one is, we got two more from him. This one is called Fight Him.
Yeah, no, he's just done a fantastic job developing that, and it's only going to continue to grow. And, you know, it was no surprise to me to see him doing bullpen sessions and whatnot with Scooble and some of these other bigger name guys. And I mean, I wanted to fight him a little bit because we were trying to sign Hader a couple years ago. And I was like, come on, man, put in a good word. What do we got?
Okay. And then our very last one from Connor here is going to be the human element. Here we go.
Obviously a very unique guy in the best way. What stands out about Jon? Why are people so drawn to him?
Yeah, well, I think Jon, first and foremost, maintains the human element. That's what I adore about him so much more than anything else. And there was an obvious growth mindset there. He always had a good filter, but he always listened. He always asked excellent questions. It was never forcing anything on you or whatnot. And I could tell just even meeting the guys and chatting with them, it was much more about kind of that relationship and building a strong, trust and bond initially versus like, hey, you should do this. Hey, you should do that, and, oh, this is the right thing to do. That. He really got to know the individual first and made it a comfortable environment for them. And, he has grown tremendously. And just from the first conversations we've had to where he's at today. And, obviously he had the experience, he had the talent, the skill, he knew what needed to be done, but his ability to learn and grow with the technical stuff and the technology and kind of filtering the eyewash or what's working and what's not. It's no surprise to me that he's having the success he's having today.
Oh, cool. And that rounds out our Connor McGuinness stuff. That guy was incredible. One of the founders of Clean Fuego, assistant pitching coach for the Dodgers. You got anything, my friend? What you got?
No, just thanks, C-Mag. Awesome.
Yeah, cool. So we don't have
One
a
of my
ton
favorite
left,
guys.
dude. We're pretty much really.
Yeah.
Special.
Can we do a bathroom break? Is that a thing?
Of course. Please do. Yeah, go, buddy, go. For sure.
Coffee.
Yeah, I'll go.
Now.
I'll go ahead and just stop it then. Yeah, for sure.
We'll be right back. Back in the saddle again.
Here we go, buddy.
Thank you.
Here we go. Yeah. Home stretch, my friend. I think we are rounding third and headed for home here.
Rounding third, heading for home.
Yeah, this has been so cool. I mean, I want to say I did the first interview for this last April was the first one. That's when we started. So, and obviously, we had some meandering things that kind of took our time to get started and get going here. But man, what a journey! The amount of people that you've introduced me to, the doors you've opened, the growth that the podcast has had, even from when you just agreed to do it. And you're hooking me up with all these Cy Youngs and All Stars. I'm talking to these guys. I just had Libby on, dude. It's been crazy. And I know I've given you your gratitude for what you did for my playing career too. But that was you're a very special guy to me, Jon. And so yeah, absolutely, man. It's so much love between us here. And I can't wait to come out and see you someday. So what I would like to hear, a couple questions before we get into our Brittany stuff and kind of round it out here. But within the training world, there's so many other guys out there, pitching coaches, body guys, strength coaches. Are there any guys out there that you really draw inspiration from or respect, or like when they're talking about concepts, you are tuning in?
Yeah, I mean, and early on, I want to say a lot of Tom House stuff. Like I've always followed Tom House. I mean, still to this day, he's got the Mustard app that he's done a lot of good things with, and I think he's one of the guys with the growth mindset, like the 7 PhDs that he just keeps growing. I think he's a good one. Ron Wolforth, I've always really liked and looked up to Ron, especially the way his relationships are with people and the way he treats people.
He's got the pitching camp, doesn't he? Both those guys have camps.
Yeah, he's a gem.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of good guys I've ran into. I try to be a student of everybody I can.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, those are the first guys that kind of pop into my head. As
let me ask you this: you've been rocking and rolling for a long time, and the universe keeps showing you that you're in the right place and you're doing what you're supposed to do. I hope all these people speaking about you is evidence to that. Why is what you do so fulfilling to you? Why does this fill you up? Why does this give you the energy to have 18-hour days? Why do you keep showing up to do this?
I mean, I think it's the relationships and then just the love of the game and the love of, what the game helps you become, and the challenges that it presents, but at the same time, obviously the peaks of the mountains, but also down, down low in the valleys, just the what would I say, unpredictable too, I
Yeah.
think is part of it too, where it's like I like to stay curious as much as I can,
Yeah.
and I think
I like that.
when I can be curious, then I'm in the right headspace, but I think just really being around really good people, and
Yeah.
that's what drives me, and getting to help people.
Before we get into this Brittany clips, Brittany clips, your wife, to round this out here, has this been a cool experience for you? I feel like I kind of hijacked you, like you didn't maybe totally know what you were going on, and here we are, like probably 12 hours later, going through it. Has it been cool for you?
Yeah, it's been awesome. And I
Okay.
mean, it's fun talking with you
Yeah,
because I feel like I can just be wide open and
we've got a nice
vulnerable, whatever
connection.
you want to call it. But at the
Yeah,
same time, I think, getting to hear how you've helped other people, I think it only helps me help more people now, or help
oh,
people better now, not necessarily more people, but help,
I get
just
what you're
at the
saying.
deeper levels you can connect, and I
Yeah,
think the relationship with us, but also just seeing the relationships that you've developed in this too is just the connection piece, the
yeah,
human element, if you will, what CMAC was talking about.
yeah. I love it, man. What a beautiful baseball life journey, saga, odyssey that you have been on, man. So we've for those of you that are riding with us, we haven't put this out yet, obviously, but this is part 6. Each of these are about 2 hours long. It's really split into 2 parts because of your story, man. Your story was wild as a player. These stops and affiliated, grinding it through indie ball all around the country, hanging out with Tony Phillips and Jose Canseco and every other indie ball character, and meeting all these incredible people, getting back into affiliated, still playing. You still got this Satchel Pageness to you. And then obviously you become this incredibly sought after independent pitching coach, and all the guys that so lovingly and warmly talk about you and believe in you and come to you. So cool. I knew this story was special and had to be told. Um, a really special person, probably the most special person to this story, is Brittany, your wife. She's been there since essentially very early on in the pro career. And you guys' story of support and perseverance, and just her, keeping it together as a minor league pro baseball wife is so cool. I mean, the stories of being in hotel rooms and trying to set it up for babies, and then you're traded or released, and it's like, shit, we got to move, and how are we figuring this out? And it's just very special lady, obviously, and that you guys you're still rocking and rolling, and there's still this story of support and love. So beautiful. People should take notes about what you guys have going on. Let's round this out with some clips here. First one I want to start with is "I'd Be a Millionaire." Here we go.
Yeah, so I actually asked my kids this question today as we
cool.
were driving to school because I knew that you and I were going to be chatting, and I was like, how would you guys describe your dad, in a few words? And the thing that both of them said first was that he's funny.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people see Jon on a more serious side with what he does professionally. But at home, he is funny. Or when we're on vacation, he's funny. And I feel like that's his vacation, and being at home are like his safe spaces to kind of let loose.
Mm-hmm.
He really is funny, like with the things he says, his mannerisms. One thing that we really love as a family is that, we have 2 teenagers. They're 14 and 15. Teenage years are interesting, to say the least. But
Sure.
one thing that we love that Jon and I didn't really have as much of growing up is like our kids, the 4 of us together as a family unit just have a really great bond. And there will be nights where our teenagers will come in our room and lay in our bed with us, and they'll like airplay old videos of us to the TV. And we will just like lay there and laugh until we cry. Seriously. We like Jon, and most of the videos are of Jon that they're like playing on the TV because he is funny. And so I think that's like just such a cool quality that like, or a way that his kids would describe him. Like that's exactly how I would want them to remember their dad. And they also both said that he's a good listener, which I do agree with that. And I think anyone that has ever met him would totally agree. He's really good at listening and kind of stepping back and doesn't really respond to things unless he is asked to. And I think a lot of people are so quick to jump in and give their opinion, and that is not Jon. And so I think that is also just a cool quality that he has. He is very understanding, caring, I kind of say this to him as a joke, but I'm like, you are such a better person than me. If I had $1 for every time somebody said to me in the last 20 years, wow, your husband is really special, or wow, we're so appreciative of everything he does, I would legit be a millionaire.
Goosebumps, man. All that was so cool. Just from the family stuff to how she's seeing you, and that you're a great listener, and that something that you already echoed too, that you don't like to give advice unless kind of asked to, or you're not just gonna do that. So you got anything to touch on there, or any comments or
No,
follow-up?
I was laughing almost right now, just to the point of almost crying, because it's when the kids put the videos on the TV, it's so funny. They are just.
That's a great idea. I feel like I want to do that. So just airplay it to the TV and just start playing old videos.
Yeah, and they just have stuff that they've saved. They'll take stuff that you have no idea they took, and they'll just play it later.
Really?
There was one time I think we were at Disney, and it was raining, and I was just running through the puddles, and they'll play that, and it's so funny.
Johnny F and Z running through the puddles at Disneyland. I love it.
Yeah, makes sense, I guess, now that you say it. Yeah.
Big donkey. All right, my man. All-Star Game is our next one here. Here we go.
But I think seeing, going back to the Major League debut, because I think that was such a big moment, and just seeing how emotionally invested he is in what he does for work is really cool. And he got to go to the Major League All-Star Game last summer, and one of his guys was pitching there, and he got to go to the Cy Young Award ceremony this year in New York City. Those are things that potentially could be once-in-a-lifetime things, and not in such a small percentage of people get to do things like that. I think he's just gotten to do so many cool things and be connected to so many amazing athletes, but I think it just also says a lot about the person that he is, and just how dedicated he is to people and to just being a good human. And he has always said from the beginning, it is not the money for him, and he just wants to help as many people as possible. And so I think that's also a very cool perspective that a lot of people don't have, and it's just been really cool to see that. And honestly, I think his quote-unquote baseball career is just getting started at this point in his life. There's been so many more cool things, I feel that have happened in the last 5 years than the last 20 years. And so, I think there's so much potential for what's to come. It's really exciting to think about. And we have we're doing a big baseball trip with the kids to Chicago this summer, and going to see the Cubs and Cardinals. And I'm excited to have the kids experience that because they've never been to Wrigley Field.
Another great one, my friend.
Yeah, that was a fun trip.
Was it?
Yeah.
Taking them to Wrigley?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Wrigley is a spot. I think if you're a baseball purist or you love baseball, you got to hit it at least once and see it. It's unique,
Absolutely.
Seeing the Ivy,
the St. Louis. So
yeah, for sure. And I mean, I feel like I've seen multiple pictures of you popping up in St. Louis. Is that something that you try to do a couple times a summer when Libby's doing his thing, or?
Yeah, it'll happen more and more, as he goes.
Okay, for sure.
I get out there quite a bit. It's just a matter of getting the kids out there.
Here's an idea. I'm an hour and 45 minutes from St. Louis. Maybe we could coordinate sometime when you make a pilgrimage there. I'd love to come watch a Cardinals game too. I could find my own way, but I'd love to link up maybe because I'm pretty close.
That's a cathedral. Yeah, you got to have a seat next to me though. Oh no.
Okay. Well, I didn't want to be like, hey, Libby, give me a seat. I wasn't trying to put myself in that position. So we'll figure it out. But I think that would be cool.
We may know a guy. Yeah, we may know a guy.
We may know a guy. Okay. Here we go. The next one is going to be called An Amazing Way of Connecting. And I appreciate your wife telling me that story about the videos, because I'm going to use that with my kids. I think that'd be a fun thing to do. Pop up some old videos of them and us and just on the TV. That'd be fun. So
It is,
appreciate
and
that.
let them run the show too, because it's
Well,
like, sometimes it's fun for them to.
well, my little monkeys are 3 and 6, so I don't know how well that's going to go, but maybe when they're a little bit older.
You're maybe a little behind. Just keep
All right.
making good videos right now, so
Right, for sure.
10 years from now, when they're teenagers, they're laying in bed showing you their.
We've got gold, man. It's crazy to think like how, or you and I are similar age ranges, and there's like we have like I grew up with like albums of pictures, and we've
Yep.
got some family albums and whatnot. But these kids are getting 20 videos for every event they do, and 20 pictures a day, and like their lives are documented in ways that were way different than you and I. And it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out when they're older.
Yeah, it's always funny seeing it from their perspective too, where it's like just a different angle.
Ooh.
They take a different angle in on it.
Yeah, I like that. All right. Next one is called Amazing Way of Connecting. Here we go.
He just has this amazing way of connecting with people that you just don't see everywhere. And he has
unique.
he has this innate ability to connect with a 6-year-old that he's teaching a lesson to and connect with a 10-year big leaguer, and he treats them all exactly the same. And so
cool.
I just like to be married to somebody like that so many people have amazing things to say, like, it definitely makes me proud of him. And I have seen him be at the bottom of the barrel and barely, making it in life to having like these super amazing highlights. A couple of days ago I know you said you talked to Matthew.
Yeah.
And he's like, I would consider him like my third son. He's been around since our kids were babies. And, a couple of days ago was the anniversary of his major league debut. And, all 4 of us got to go to that. And it was like one of the top 10 highlights of my entire life. And to like see this full circle moment of Jon coaching Matthew since he was 11 years old. And then fast forward, however many years later it was, we got to go to his major league debut. Wow. Like, talk about like a cool moment. And that was probably one of the times in my life where I've been the most proud of Jon, because I saw everything he put in as a coach leading up to that moment. And that's not the stuff you see on Instagram. You don't see the hours Jon puts in analyzing videos of pitching mechanics and putting together highlights, and he gets home from work every day and sits in bed for 2 hours and sends the videos to all of his guys that he trains every single night. Like, those are like the little things that people don't see, but I do. And so to see the fruits of his labor, get to a major league debut, I'm like, wow, like that may never happen again. And so like that was that's probably like my number one highlight, proud moment of him. And, him and I are both crying at the stadium, like, is this really happening? And it was so cool. So like, in a nutshell, he's just a good human being. And I think everybody who knows him would say that. Like, he just has this really great way of connecting with people and just makes everybody feel special. And like, that is like just such a cool quality to have.
You got the goosebumps?
Oh yeah. Little yeah.
Brittany's getting me here, man. So I've got one more clip to play, and I think I'm gonna let Brittany take us out. So I don't think we need to say anything grand or profound in this moment. I mean, we've been on a journey together, man, for 12 plus hours here. Unless is there anything you feel like you've wanted to say that I haven't asked you, or just
I just
anything
wanted to
jumping
say
off your heart?
thank you to you for putting in your time and energy to,
Of course,
kind of reliving some of this stuff, and like we talked about, like getting a
Pleasure.
chance to look at the reflection of what's happened and learn from it and keep growing. Look forward to who knows, maybe 5 years from now we'll revisit some more cool stories. And
please, no, you have an open invitation to come back on a guest. I would love to have you back on for some more commentary. I would love to get deeper into like.
I was thinking that'd be fun, pull in some different guys, and like Edwin and whoever else that wants to.
I love that idea.
Stuff and just chat about whatever.
I love that idea, and I also think I've probably left some meat on the bone. I didn't want to get too deep into like mechanics and some training stuff because I wanted it to be more central to your story. But I think we can keep this rolling for years to come, man. I love our connection. I think you and I have a great rat-a-tat. So anyway, man, thank you for everything. Thank you for what you've done for me in this. And like I said, one of the most special people in baseball. Everyone here echoes that same sentiment. I hope that everyone connected to you can have this as a way to know you better, that your kids can always have this, your wife, your family, everyone that's worked with you. This is a great way to understand why Zinger is who he is, why the Manimal is who he is. So here, I want to take us out here and thank you again, my brother. I love you. I'm gonna cut it after this. Yes, sir. This last one is from Brittany, and this is called Extremely Proud. We're gonna let her take us out. This is Jon Huizinga, part 6, the story. We're ending it right here, my friend. I love you, buddy. Brittany's gonna take us out. Here we go.
I'm there.
Extremely proud. I am very quick to share about Jon with a lot of people. Like, my kids joke and they're like, Dad is your biggest flex. And I'm like, yeah, of course he is. Like, I'm so proud of everything he's built because, when I met him and he was playing in Kalamazoo, back in 2003, 2004, I think he was making like $600 a month or something laughable, honestly. And you see like the transition from playing to coaching to, the backyard baseball lab. Like, that was at our house for years, and we'd have people,
I remember that picture.
People coming in and out of our house all the time, and like, it was not like a serious, like, legit business at that time. And then the transition from that to having a facility and then, coaching people at the caliber that he coaches, that whole transition, it is pretty incredible. And that does not happen to everybody.
No.
And just the people that Jon has been able to coach, the lineup of people is like, wow, mind blowing.
All right, my friend. That's it. We did it.
Thank you. Thank you,
buddy.
my friend.
All right.
You made it home, Nick.